Wow. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on Adam's FK7, as I just introduced to the channel. And today is a big project. Probably bigger than just a today project. I'm doing seats. These are OMPs, and this is just one, but I am doing both passenger and driver. And then also 6-point harnesses. These are seat brackets from PCI with sliders and then a belayed harness bar. Oh, and also with these cars, there's airbags in the stock seats, so you have to use a sensor like this to cancel out the air. Now I'm starting with the passenger seat because it should be easier. It's a little more room. There's 2 bolts in the front, and then there's gonna be 2 more in the rear. Also, if I don't finish this today, then the driver's seat is still in, so I can move the car around. One other important note is, since we are working with airbags, I would always disconnect the battery, just in case it doesn't explode in your face. This seat is now out. As you see, the seat is out. So I'm now gonna get this bracket set up so we can put the seat on it and then test the fitment in the car. So I almost forgot for a second that I make YouTube videos now. And those last clips that you saw, this is now a new day. He had to pick the car up because this is his daily driver, believe it or not. And the car's back. I started working on it and I forgot to record some stuff, so I apologize. So the first thing I wanted to address today was just get rid of the aero lights. So I just essentially plugged everything in, seatbelt sensor, weight sensors, and then I cut the airbag sensor and I wired in this 2 ohm resistor, and then I started the car. Check this out, give it a second, and no lights. So clearly we know this connection works. I'm gonna shrink these. This will be all set. Do the same on the driver's side. The driver's side doesn't have weight sensors, so that's one less thing to worry about. Put the seat in, set up the harness bar and the harnesses. If you guys aren't familiar with these, some people said you can put this into the ends of the plug. I didn't like that. I wanted something more secure, so I cut it off. And then here, what you do with these connectors is you strip the 2 ends of the wires, put them in, crimp it, and then use a heat gun, and that's gonna give you a really tight water seal that's not gonna come undone. So I would much prefer this and trust that over a lot of the other methods. There's something cool I wanted to point out about these PCI seat mounts, and that is this bar right here. Now this bar is for the submarine straps, and this is the one for the other seat, but I have it for demonstration purposes. And usually with the submarine straps, and submarine straps do exactly what they say. They go in a 6-point, you're gonna have 2 that go down, and that's gonna keep your body from slipping downwards in an accident, which can be a big issue, especially in like a 4-point harness. But normally you'd have to drill a hole in the floor, take up the carpet, take off the under panels. It's a lot of work. Whereas with this, I tied this one on here so you guys can see. Tied it the exact same way this one is tied. You can tie it on there, and it's an alternative to actually drilling in the floor. And here you go. Got the 2 straps coming up the center, both tied on exactly how I showed before. So this should be good. One of the requests for the setup was to not only have the 6-point harness, but to also retain the factory 3-point seatbelt, which added an extra level of complication because it required a little bit of modification to the seat. The first thing I had to do was drill a second hole so that there would be one hole to mount the eye bolt and then a second hole to mount the seat belt. After that, I touched up with a little bit of touch-up paint just to try and prevent any rust. And then there was this little tab at the end of the seat belt that had to be shaved off just so it would be a flat mounting surface. Bolted it up, no issue, and the eye bolt also bolted up, no problem. So now I have successfully created 2 mounting locations. And this is also useful because even if you're not trying to reuse the 3-point seatbelt, you have to plug it in anyway to get rid of any lights. So this is a good way to mount it instead of having it kind of loose on the floor. So I've run into a bit of a silly little problem here, where if you look, the seat bolts are a little to the left, but this seat cannot move over because the eye bolt is now running into the tunnel. And that's an issue because the seat can't be bolted down. There were a few ideas I had to solve this problem, anywhere from hammering in the tunnel to try and create a little bit of a dent so that there would be room. I also thought about drilling into the tunnel to actually mount the eye bolt into that. And then what I ended up doing is I decided to create a bracket, and I made it out of steel so it would be nice and strong. And the bracket simply just would relocate the eye bolt up a little bit, inch or two, just so that it would clear that tunnel. Check that out. That bracket worked perfectly. Raise it up just an inch or two. Clearance is good here and here. This seat will now bolt down. Seatbelt to the right length, everything fits perfectly. Probably have to measure this to do the exact same on the other side, but at least we know it works. So I did make one for the other side, literally just made out of scrap metal. I cut it out, sanded down the rough edges, sanded down the face of it, made it nice and shiny, and also so that the paint would adhere. Once that was done, again using the other side as a template, drilled the exact same holes. Once that was done, primed it, painted it, installed it just like I did on the other side, and it worked perfectly fine. One issue I did run into as well, though, was that the bolt was too long and the seat wouldn't go back, so I cut it, and that fixed the problem. The seat went all the way back, no issue. And I also had to cut one for the other side as well. I'm about to jump ahead quite a bit here, but both seats are in. Now, I didn't show the driver's side just because it was, one, easier to work, but also because it's essentially the exact same thing as the other side. Set up the bracket, set up the seat. I made another custom bracket for the seat belt. And same thing with the wires, so pretty much identical. Now the last thing I'm gonna do is tidy this up and clean up the wires over there, try to wrap them up, hide them under the seat. Once that's done, the last piece that is going on is this harness bar. And this is going to be for the top 2 shoulder straps, and that will complete the 6-point harness setup. Now through the magic of zip ties, the wires are gone and it's time to install the harness bar. Really simple concept. You have a bracket here and here, and then you're gonna have the bar wraps across, and then you have supporting rods that come up and allow you to also adjust the angle. And then tie it on the bar, harnesses go through. So, first step is gonna be to remove this clip. You have a 14mm here and here. I'm gonna start at the bottom and take this one off. We have a retaining clip right here. Just gonna hold it, and then just like that. Supplied bracket. Switching to the provided bolt. I am an idiot and I forgot that this has to feed through the seat. So I'm gonna feed this through and rebolt that. These 2 brackets are on and I fixed the seat belt. So it's going to be the exact same thing on the other side. Both sides have brackets. So now I'm gonna take the arms and bolt these down at the base. So this doesn't reach, which means that this has to be bolted onto the other side. So I'm gonna fix that, and then I'll bolt these up. Everything is bolted up and it feels nice and secure. I left the 2 bolts at the top loose because what's cool is with these rods, you can loosen the nuts and it's reverse threaded. And just by turning this rod by hand, you can actually adjust the height of the bar up and down. So the last step is going to be finalizing this height and getting the straps through. The seats are completely done, so I'm gonna get some cinematic shots and then take it on a drive. Not too bad. Make sure you close the door first because you won't be able to reach it. I guess it's smart to give a disclaimer. 6-point harnesses should only be used on the track with a helmet and Hans device. I am not a professional. I have no idea what I'm doing. If you crash and die in an accident, it is not my fault. Drive safe. So there's no lights on the dash except for a seatbelt light, which isn't a big deal because you can just plug a dummy sensor into the seatbelt. Because the seatbelt's connected, it just doesn't think it's plugged in. So if you get a dummy buckle, it'll think it's plugged in. You'll be fine. Holy. Right away, the pedals feel so much better. There's an upgraded master cylinder in this car, which I said before I absolutely hate. And having a really stiff seat like this makes shifting, using the pedals, basically all the controls are a lot easier to use now because I'm held into place. I feel so cool. Oh man. Wow. I knew these would make a difference, obviously. Yeah, there it goes, telling me the seatbelt's not on. I knew these would make a difference, but holy crap. It feels like a race car. This is more fun than I expected. I like this. Let me know, should I put, I wouldn't do both. But if I were to do it in my car, I'd only do the driver's side. If you want to see racing seats in Suzuki after the engine swap, let me know. Wow. I thought the stock SI seats were pretty good. I mean, they are, but holy shit. Wow. What a difference. It's hard to explain the feeling. I mean, you're just locked in. That's the only way to put it. I recently adjusted the master cylinder too, because cruise control wasn't working, but cruise control does work now, and it also shifts much better. I've done a ton of stuff on this car I haven't documented. I'm sorry. I seriously do forget that I make YouTube videos, and like I just have this habit of doing car things and not recording it. So, sorry. But I did some more chassis bracing. What else did I do recently? Oh yeah, I did a rear brake job, new calipers, different bushings. I've done a ton of small things. Vultures, holy. Move. I'm about to hit one of these big ass birds. Even over the bumps, you know, you used to feel yourself getting a little airborne over the bumps, but now you're just in place. Wow. Nice. Whew. Well, that was actually a very lengthy install, also because I had the break with my surgery. But at least these are done, and he is set up for a track day. You'll be seeing more videos with this car. Consider liking and subscribing if you like this stuff. Engine swap stuff, content videos coming soon. It's coming along great, and a lot of really big things coming this summer. I'm super excited. Hope you guys are, and thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.